Welcome to Families in Action on your local hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm Cary Quashen. I am your host. Michael Doherty, my co-host, he's out there vacationing it, and he's having a great time. So before we move on with our show, I do want to say that Families in Action is brought to you by your local hometown station, AM 1220. We've been on the air for 13 years. Isn't that incredible?
Good stuff.
I sure appreciate everything that the Goldmans and this station does. It allows us to get messages out there that I believe save lives. And we're also brought to you by Action Family Counseling, which is drug and alcohol rehab centers that we have, and Action Family Foundation, which is very cool. Did you see the experience yet, speaking about that?
I haven't seen the experience yet.
No?
No, I have. I've seen it, but I haven't, not in person.
All right. Did you get, Jackson, you were going to go, did you ever peek at that thing yet?
I haven't. I think
you guys are bad.
I know, right?
You guys are bad.
I asked you to tell me when it was actually going to be launched.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And what it is, it's going to be a moving memorial, which is extremely exciting for me because I believe the more tools we have in our toolbox, the less people we're going to lose. And as we know right now, it's an epidemic out there. Kids are dying every day. In fact, I was getting on a fishing boat on Saturday evening, and we got a phone call that Michael, I'll use his first name, hung himself in jail. He was 20-something years old. We've had him in rehab 3 times. He just couldn't figure it out. So that's a really good way to start our fishing trip, you know? And then we had another kid last week walking at 6 in the morning, right into a car, and dead. So it doesn't even have to be an overdose. So this memorial thing the experience that we're creating is really set for people to come in there and get a real experience and listen to people that really lost their children to drugs. So I think anything that we can do to bring attention is very good.
It was out at the SCV drug take back, right?
No, we didn't bring it
Oh,
there
it wasn't
yet
out
because
there.
no, it's almost done.
We're on the cusp of it being done. Because I've seen photos of the idea of it,
Right.
And KHTS actually was a big part of getting it off the ground running. And
Actually, a really big part.
Yeah.
We got the motorhome and we're doing all that, but actually it was Carl's idea. He said, "Hey,
it's kind of their thing. That's their wheelhouse is nonprofits.
Right.
KHTS or Carl and Jerry specifically, their wheelhouse is nonprofits, and it's a fantastic idea. I think it's wonderful.
No, it really isn't. We have the memorial up at the park already for kids that lost their lives to car crashes. I'm not going to call them accidents because they're not. Somebody's driving recklessly. Something bad happened because of an error they were doing, and people die. So, a couple times a year, Santa Clarita goes up there, and we can visit that and use that as a teaching experience to kids too. But nothing for people who dies from overdoses. People don't want to talk about it.
Are you hoping a lot of teens kind of go in there as well?
Yes, and the great thing about it, Jackson, is it's digital. So we can show up to an event. If somebody's teeter-tottering, we can bring them in there and they can just watch the TVs and hear it all over. But we can take the digital piece out, put it in an auditorium, play it to kids, and then bring the people that are actually on that video to speak.
So it's going to affect parents as well as the teens.
Everybody. And one of the parents, Chrissy, she's kind of one of our heroes up here. She lost her kid to a heroin overdose. Right. And when we go and we speak, it's incredible what happens at the end of our assemblies. We've had kids give us drugs, leave them on the chairs, say, I'll never do drugs again. I mean, so when people really feel that pain, they can make better choices. So we're hoping that this is something.
Right. Todd and I met Chrissy before. She's the one that
she was on a little TV thing where we did.
Yeah, we did the sizzle reel, and
right.
She made it. And this is what you wouldn't expect to be a normal, typical teen parent. I mean, she was middle to upper class and lost her son to heroin, and then was dealing with her daughter, right. Who was going through your facility
who now
as well.
has 7 months sober.
That's beautiful.
And she's not just doing good, she's doing fantastic.
Right.
So she's back in her kids' lives. She's sober. She's back with mom, and I mean, all things are great with her.
It's unbelievable.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So we hear all these negative stories where people are dying and stuff like that, and that's really true. But I'll tell you what, we save a whole lot more lives than we lose. It doesn't feel that sometimes.
That's important to remember. That's important to remember. And one thing I like about Action Family, you guys, like with the Chrissy situation, you guys don't let people die in vain. You always let that be. Yeah, right. You always let that be a learning lesson for teens and parents and whoever's dealing with addiction.
And families, I mean, you lose a kid, you got so many different feelings. Now, if you can go out there and use it in a positive way and save lives, it really, I'm not that it makes, nothing's worth losing a kid, but at least there's a reason for it now. At least you could say, well, at least I got something, I'm saving lives now. So it's kind of one of those kind of things. And speaking about saving lives, the drug take-back day was this Saturday.
This is one of the cool events in the Santa Clarita Valley, and so I don't know. You were. What's the history of it? What made you think of it, and how did you guys come up with this?
It's a national deal.
Okay.
And the real reason behind it is we want to get drugs off the streets. And right now, as everybody knows, we're in a major epidemic, and everybody goes heroin, heroin, heroin. No, it's opiates, opiates, opiates. More people are dying from prescription pills than heroin. So we really have to. More people are dying from prescription pills and car crashes.
That's crazy.
So we're doing anything we can to get this crap off the streets and out of the home. You ask any adolescent that is taking these pills, where are you getting them? My medicine cabinet.
And I learned about something. This is something that I saw when I was in high school, but I didn't know that it went to this extent. It was Bob Sherritt's actually that mentioned kids have like they're called farm parties.
Farm parties, yes.
With a PH, farm parties.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what they do is they all go home, they raid their medicine cabinets, they go to their friends, they raid those two, and then they go into a party and they throw it all on the table. And people get high. And they call them farm parties.
Anything that says like will cause drowsiness, right?
Anything that says will cause, or not for human consumption.
Yeah.
Oh, that's for
Yeah.
me. But it's insane. So drug take back day, it's a national deal. It's twice a year now. And what it does is it gives people a way to get rid of their drugs responsibly. Because obviously we don't want to flush Vicodin down the toilet.
Yeah, which but like I actually mentioned that to somebody and they said, why don't they just flush it down the toilet? And that's not a good thing. That's not good for the environment. So.
It's terrible for the environment.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't want to hurt the dolphins, do we?
Yeah, exactly.
So we have to be a little careful.
So what do you do with it?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of things you do with it. So it's also, you don't want to flush it, and you don't want to throw it in the trash can. Why?
Somebody can find it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have doe fiends going through trash cans and looking for stuff. In fact, it was really popular about a year ago. They were going to the elderly homes.
Oh, no kidding.
And they were going through the trash bins and grabbing prescriptions, calling it into the pharmacy and picking it up for the grandparents.
Wow.
We actually have people that are going to open houses now. They're not trying to buy houses. They're looking through medicine cabinets. So yeah, this is a responsible way. The DEA heads it up. And we got 158 pounds Saturday. That was 12 boxes we filled up of drugs, narcotics that can really hurt somebody.
Talk about a farm party.
Yeah. Talk about a farm party. Well, but you know what's interesting? We're there. Mm-hmm. The hospital was there. The sheriff was there. The DEA is there, and it's all bagged and weighed, so so everybody knows exactly what is going. And then the DEA takes it all, and they're incinerated.
Oh. Okay.
So it's get rid of irresponsibly, and these kids that are normally going to walk through a medicine cabinet and find it, it's not there anymore. It's being incinerated. So it's a pretty cool thing to do.
And so the stuff that people brought was like expired stuff you didn't need anymore.
This one poor guy, I'm telling you, he pulls up and he has 2 bags, and he's throwing. I say, I'll take your bag. He says, no. And he's taking every bottle out, and he's reading them, and he's dropping it. This took him almost 20 minutes. And the reason why he did it, because he lost his wife.
Oh.
So these were cancer medications for pain and that kind of stuff. So it was like he was really saying goodbye. And he said, I've been driving around with this stuff in my trunk for months. I didn't know what to do with it. So that's the kind of thing that was happening. Yeah. And we explained there's many things you can do with it now. The sheriff's department has it's like a mailbox. And you can drop drugs in there 24 hours a day. Nobody says anything. Nobody cares. It's to get them off the street. And now most pharmacies will take your unused drugs too. And they'll distribute them or get rid of them in a safe way too. But we do. I mean, it's and this is made to the parents. Say, listen, when we have kids and they're born, they're babies. As they start growing up and starting to crawl around the house, what do? We baby-proof our houses, right? We put little locks on our cabinets so they can't get into something that's going to hurt them. Now, we have teenagers. What do?
Nothing.
What do we have to do? Teenage-proof your house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Get the stuff that is unsafe away from them. If you have a prescription for painkillers or benzos or whatever it is, I'm not telling you to throw them away, but keep them away. Buy a safe. Keep them locked up. be responsible. I mean, we're having more kids die today from prescription drugs than anything else.
You know, you said lock it up in a safe. The thing that pops into my mind is the thing you put in a safe is a gun. It's a loaded gun or a gun of any sort.
Just as dangerous.
And it's almost,
if not more.
Yeah. There's,
right.
like you said, there's more people dying from prescription drug overdoses than there is from
Car crashes.
the car crashes and gunshots. So it's basically a loaded gun in your house if you're leaving it on there. It could be.
Right. And it's crazy. I actually had somebody come to me the Tuesday night after my parent group, and this guy, he says, I smoke pot. I do it. It's medical. I need it. And I'm not going to get into an argument with this guy because about 5% of people who get medical marijuana need it medically. The other 95 just looking for a way to get high. But he's there because his kid got arrested for, guess what? Pot. Twice. So I asked the kid, where did you get it? And he says, my dad's stash. So the message is out there. Hey, sometimes we take medication, we need them. Let's say you have a bad back, you need Vicodin. And we're not arguing that point. Put it in a safe. If you want to be one of those medical marijuana pot smokers, that's fine. You're an adult. Do what you want. Keep your kids safe. Lock everything up. Keep the house kid-proof. Because it could really become dangerous. And by the way, I don't think any drug addiction started when somebody said, I want to wake up, I want to grow up and be a drug addict. It always starts innocently. So we really can end tragically. I mean, just in the last week, 2 people, one crossing the street at 6 a.m., stumbling and got hit, and one hung himself in jail.
And this is Santa Clarita?
These are Santa Clarita kids, yes.
Wow.
So, and then that's another point, though, Jackson. Everybody's saying, you guys have a lot of drugs in Santa Clarita. We have no more drugs here in Santa Clarita than any other city. In fact, I bet you we have a little bit less now than any other city. You know why? Because we talk about it here.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't understand is when something like this happens, we do make a big deal out of it because we don't want it to happen again.
Right. And we do a lot more than just that. We educate the community. We just did that marijuana and the Team Brain deal. You know how many people showed up for that? Over they said 350. There was a lot more than that.
Standing room only.
Standing room only. People wanting to know what the real facts of marijuana is because it's, you ask any kid, they're going to say, oh, it's good, it's safe.
Comes from the earth.
It comes
it's
from
fine.
the earth. So
that's what the news is saying.
Yeah.
Right? So, and their parents, right?
Yeah, and then you can come into my world and see what really happens. Right. I got these kids coming in, they're psychotic. I got adults coming into the psych unit. Forget it, they're gone. And the only thing we're testing, the only thing we're finding is THC. This new high-potency marijuana is really causing major problems, especially when you have a kid. And their brain's not even developed to the mid-20s, and they're 14 smoking pot, which is storing where? In their fatty cells. Their brain, their heart, their sex organs. So we got so many different things that we need to pay attention to. And it just blows my mind. You know why?
You've been, how long you been doing this?
30 years. And
30 years.
You know why it blows my mind? Because we parents don't even care anymore. They're just like, I give up. Oh, you're going to give up. Let your kids smoke pot. Go get them a medical marijuana card and pay for it. What's next? Oh, here's the deal. I'm not saying that every pot smoker, every kid that lights up a joint is going to become a heroin addict. We know that's not true. But I can tell you this. Almost every heroin addict that I've ever dealt with started with pot. So drug abuse I believe, always starts innocently. It does. It always starts innocently. But it can end pretty tragic.
So you've been in this over 30 years.
Over 30 years.
Over 30 years. And there's probably, like, when you first started dealing with issues, there was probably not that many type of drugs out there, I would say. 30 years ago, was
you always had drugs. There were Quaaludes. The whole teenage population was addicted to those, so they just took them off the market.
Yeah.
Speed has always been around. I mean, it was Black Beauties, and now it's crystal meth. So the drugs have changed. They've always been here, but they've changed. And today we have so much more dangerous drugs than we've ever had before. Crystal meth. You know what's in crystal meth?
I have no idea.
In every batch, you'll find just a few little things like arsenic, rat poisoning, this kind of stuff.
Like actual poison.
Well, it's when they cook it up, they put all that stuff in it. Yeah. And you know who makes it? Usually some drug addict in the middle of some desert in a little lab.
I've seen Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's like Breaking Bad. Exactly like Breaking Bad.
Right. And that's what happens. And then our kids get it and smoke it. It's pretty horrible.
And there's just, I mean, the thing that pops into my head is there's people that are making money off of this, and so they're going to change things however they can to continue to make money off of it.
They're going to do it.
That's kind of a big picture thing.
Right.
But
right. And I was just talking to Enzo in your newsroom, and he was saying it looks like the prescription drugs are starting to relax a little bit. With teenagers, it goes through phases.
yeah,
Crystal meth was huge for years, right? So every time you watch TV or news, there was something about how dangerous crystal meth is, and people got scared. Okay, boom, that's gone. Now it went to opiates. People are dying all over the place. We say we have an epidemic. We want to save lives in every city and every state.
yeah.
So what happens now? Kids get a little scared again. So what are they doing now? Crystal meth and cocaine again.
That's because they see stuff on the news
Right.
saying, "Hey, opiates are going to kill you. Let's jump over here to crystal meth."
Yeah,
and
so-
I haven't heard anything on the news about that.
It's actually probably glorified, if anything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you watch Breaking Bad for all those seasons. It's not how bad is the meth. It's how great is this meth.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly right. That's what
Blue
that's
ice
media.
is
That'd
great.
probably be-
You
yeah.
could get high and you won't die, right?
You get high and you won't die.
BS.
Yeah. So my message has always been the same, and it's not changing today and won't change in 10 years. All drugs are bad.
Yeah.
Period. It doesn't matter if you start with pot or if you start with heroin. All drugs are bad. I had another friend died at 60-something years old. His veins were all messed up, and the doctor said, "How much pot do you smoke?"
No kidding.
I mean, it takes years from your life.
So what do you get, like just a small example of what you get walking into the experience, which is this mobile home, right?
Right.
Like, so this is like, there's nothing else like that, right?
There's nothing like that anywhere.
Okay, so like if you walk in, if I walked in off the
There
street,
was-
saw it on the side of the road and said, hey, I'm going to jump into this thing, what am I expecting
You'll
to get?
sit down in a nice, comfortable chair, and there'll TV monitors throughout the thing, and somebody say, "Hi, my name's Chrissy, and I'm going to tell you about my kid." And you'll hear the whole story, and then bang, you'll hear another one from behind you, and when you leave there, you're going to feel their pain. You know, it's just like when if you're running a group or you're doing counseling, and I'm talking to somebody, and they start crying, and somebody runs over and gives them a tissue, you just killed the moment. You want somebody to sit in it and feel it a little bit. That's how they make changes. So this experience is going to be where somebody can come in there and go, "Yeah, there's nothing wrong with drugs." Oh my God. She lost her kid and he lost his, and this is terrible. So if we can get kids to feel the pain, we might not have to deal with it.
Wow.
With burying them.
Right.
So that's what I think it's going to be, one of the most powerful tools we have in the toolbox.
Makes sense. It's like you're taking the show on the road.
Yeah.
You know, it's what you've been doing for 30 years on all these talk shows. You're taking it to them.
We have to.
Yeah.
Because you know why we have to? Because it's really, what is the last thing an adolescent does? 14-year-olds before they go to sleep. The very last thing they do. What do y'all think?
I'm going to say text their friends.
Yeah, I was going to say
Very
Facebook
last thing.
or
They're
something.
Facebook.
Something.
Post something.
Yeah, in Instagram or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So check this out. They go to sleep. They check their Instagrams, and then go to bed. They wake up. What is the first thing they do before they use the restroom?
I would
Check.
say check their Facebook.
Check.
Yeah,
That's
social media.
exactly
Yeah, right.
what they do.
It's what my wife does.
That's another. I'm going to talk about that too. So that's the very first thing they do in the morning. So they get up, they're with their friends. They go to sleep with their friends. They wake up to their friends. Now they go to school. 6 hours, right? It's 8 hours. They're with their buddies. They come home. Who's waiting for them?
They're friends. Well,
Their phone.
nobody, maybe.
No, but that's what everybody says. Nobody. In most homes, mom and dad are either working or in California, divorce capital of the world. So it's all split up and whatever. It's a mess.
Yeah.
So little Johnny comes home. He just spent all day with his friends. Comes home to an empty house, but not really. Social media, right back with their friends. Right. We come home from work or whatever it is that we do. We go, "How was your day?" "It was good." "How was school?" "It was okay." "Are you hungry?" "I already ate." "You have any homework?" "I done it." They go back to their room. What are they doing there?
Hanging with their friends.
On their phones or their computers. FaceTiming now, right?
Yeah.
So we get our kids. This is really. I'm asked questions this all the time. Why is it so bad? It's pretty simple. We spend 2 minutes with our kids, maybe 10. They got their friends the rest of the time. And we were talking about. I know we have to go on break, but I just want to say one more thing. I was at Olive Gardens a few weeks ago. I get up from my table to the bathroom. Almost everybody there. What do you think they were doing?
On their phones.
Yeah.
The moms were checking what? Facebook. See how many likes they have? The kids were checking their Instagrams.
Like me generation, right?
Even when they were together or not. So the message is, figure it out.
Cary, one thing I wanted to say to you, I have immense amounts of respect for what you do. And I remember it was the first show I ever board opped at this station was Families in Action. And I remember you saying exactly what you said. They'd spend 2 minutes a day. This was before Instagram and Twitter and
Right.
had gotten giant, right? And so I was terrified when you told me that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to thank you because I have made a concerted effort to make sure that I sit down with my family for dinner. I try to do it every single night.
Right.
We try to sit down and do homework with, and my son's only 5 years old. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
And that's where you want to keep that hardwire stuff going in his brain.
And so I just want to thank you because you scared me straight because I want to make a concerted effort to make sure that I'm not spending just 2 minutes a day with my kids.
When you guys come home, put your phone down.
Yeah.
Hang out with your kid for a while. Your phone will still be there.
Yeah.
Your Facebook won't go anywhere. Your likes are still there. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to take a break. This is Families in Action on our hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.